Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo. It's a interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And with me today is Byron Wessel, a sports writer for our Gazette newspapers here in Conneaut. We call it the Courier. Byron, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Byron, of course, is all about sports, so we're going to get off to a good start because I'm all about sports as well. How long have you been with the Gazette newspapers?
About 9 years, almost 9 years.
9 years,
Yeah.
and what was your interest in it?
Well, I've always loved sports for numerous reasons. My sister actually worked for the Gazette for a long time before me, and she was the editor there, and I was working at a preschool, teaching preschool, and I've always loved sports, writing, and working with kids. And I had an opportunity to become a stringer at the Gazette, and so I started writing a couple stories a week, and the next thing I know I was writing 8 stories a week. And then Sean Radican, my boss, found another job, and I kind of got promoted to like an interim sports editor, and then basically I just took over as sports editor, and that's how I got started. But it incorporates the 3 things I love most: sports, writing, and working with kids, because I have an early childhood background.
Mm-hmm. Of all the sports, do you have a favorite one?
Baseball is by far my favorite sport.
That's 2 in a row.
Yeah, easily baseball. I've loved it ever since I was a little kid. Honestly, I can remember.
One thing about Byron Wessel that I know is that, of course, if you ever read the sports pages in we call it the Courier here in Conneaut, It's Gazette newspapers, Byron does something that's got to be very difficult. I think we've got 8 county high schools in here, and you're usually writing a lot of stories about all of these high schools. Who's your obviously you're not at all these games. Who's your contact person with the schools to get all these information of these games?
Well, I mainly do it by myself, honestly. I have a couple stringers. Rich Kelly works for me now, and Angela works for me. And sometimes I go to 2-3 games a night. Sometimes, especially during football season on Friday, I'm at a lot of games. I mean, I do contact some of the coaches afterwards and get official stats from them, and athletic directors, just whoever I need to call, I just get a hold of. But I just put everything together as best I can.
I mean, each school has, what, a dozen sports from
Yeah.
the fall all the way to the spring, and
Yeah.
I just see in this particular edition, which is the December 5th edition, you even got an article in here on swimming, I think I saw.
Yeah.
Pontooning had some kind of a swimming event.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk about. Just not just swimming, but I'm just really proud how Grand Valley has a boys and girls soccer program now. St. John brought football back, and then, like you said, in Asheville County, the swimming team program's growing. I just think that's really wonderful. And to me, what I would like to see in 15 years, if at all possible, the next step would be a lacrosse program. Like, I think lacrosse in the area, I think it might be difficult, but I think we can do it. And even youth soccer, it's growing a lot in the area, and I think it's always been popular when you're young, but I think they're doing a great job keeping players in soccer for a longer amount of time, and I just think that's great. I'm just really proud of all the programs growing in Asheville County and Lake County as well.
You mentioned a couple other sports writers with you there. Rich Kelly did a little sports writing at the Star Beacon. I've interviewed him quite a bit, and of course Angelo Violata.
Yes.
Tremendous guy. Had him on the show before. Talk a little bit about those 2 guys and your working relationship with them.
They just bring great knowledge and background and different styles of writing other than myself that they bring to the table and the team. And I think people would get boring of my stories if I didn't have more of theirs, because I'm pretty straight to the point, just try to get the stats and information as accurate as possible. And the story really writes itself, and I just try to get the names right as accurate as possible, because I don't think I got my name spelled right in the paper until I got my own byline. So what I'm most proud of, I think I have like a 99% name spelling accuracy rate, and I'm pretty proud of that. But they do a great job of telling more of a story of what's happening, and I just write about what actually happened.
We sadly lost Al Monanen, who also covered, actually he covered a lot of the Conneaut and Edgewood sports for this newspaper. It was sad to lose him at such a young age. So you've kind of taken over now, covering Conneaut and Edgewood as well.
Yes, well, I'd like to talk about Alan a lot. Alan was great. I miss him a lot. to be quite frank, that was a really rough time in my life. We lost Alan, and I also lost my mother that same week. On February 6th, I lost my mother. So it was a very difficult time to lose Alan, because I couldn't even really concentrate on what happened to him because of what I was dealing with myself. So I'd be remiss not to mention him and my mom losing them. But I try my best now to take over Conneaut and Edgewood, but Angelo helps me out a lot now with Edgewood, because he does a lot of other things with Edgewood, and he also does Lake County, but it's mainly Angelo does Lake County and Edgewood for me, and Rich is trying to do more Conneaut for me now, since I try to do a lot more of the southern county teams and also in Lake County. But the fact that we just all try to get as much done as possible.
I was just going to say, Angelo seems to cover more Lake County.
Lake
He's
County
from
and
that area,
Edgewood.
right?
Yeah, he's from Menor, and so he does mainly Lake County, and then his wife is an athletic trainer at Edgewood, and he's there a lot at Edgewood too. So I think he does some announcing for Edgewood too. So he's able to get Edgewood for me, and Rich helps me out with Conneaut.
Very good. And so we've just completed the football season. Now we're into basketball season. I'm talking about the major sports. What did you see from the high schools this year in football? I know you mentioned St. John. It was a remarkable season for the St. John Heralds, the only team in the area to be able to go to a playoff, and a team that really didn't have football until about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what it was like to see the St. John Heralds rebound like that and have a really good, solid football season.
Was really proud of them. Coach did a great job. Christian Blank's a great athlete. David Cumberlich is great, and they have a lot of great players. And the fact that they were able to make the playoffs this year was great. I know they got some help from some Minnesota kids that came to Spire, and they're great athletes too. The Lockets.
Good point.
And well, they're done great. And also, I covered Riverside. Riverside won their first ever state football playoff game this year, and Perry's been successful for the last few years, as well as Grand Valley, not this year, but they went to the playoffs back-to-back years. So I think that's great that some local teams starting to make the playoffs. And even a long time ago when I first started, Edgewood made the playoffs for the first time in a long time in 2012. That was a great run by them. So there's some teams that are getting there.
Mm-hmm. Staying with high school football for a minute, you said you cover mostly the southern teams like PV, Grand Valley, Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a little bit stunned the Conneaut Spartans were able to have their way against Grand Valley in the season finale after the Mustangs had won 3 years in a row versus Conneaut?
I was a little surprised, but I knew Conneaut had a good team. They have a lot of great athletes: Mike Williams, Ryland Davidson, just great up front with Appleby. So great athletes, and I knew they had the talent, a lot of offensive weapons, but they really did hand it to Grand Valley after Grand Valley having their number the last few years.
Kind of taken out 3 years of frustration in one
sure.
game, especially the senior players on the team.
Yes.
Well, kind of a loaded question for you here, Byron. Not as loaded as you think. I've asked every sports writer that I have on, I ask this question. Because of the teams in the county being in different conferences, and we don't see much of the local teams playing each other. Like, I think it's a shame that Conneaut and Jefferson aren't playing in football. They're not playing in basketball. What's your opinion on these teams going all different directions and not being able to play each other as much as they would like? And do you think it hurts attendance?
That's a great question. It's something I ask myself all the time. And honestly, I hate it, but I think it does impact attendance a lot. And I'm old school, kind of from the old NEC, and I would love the NEC to come back. But I understand the dynamics of some schools and why they can't be part of the NEC, and I understand that, and that's their prerogative. But I would love to see more county matchups, because it makes my job harder, honestly, to not have a lot more county teams facing each other, because they're down in Warren or Youngstown and Boardman, or traveling as far as Cleveland. And I would love to see more county matchups, but we live in different times, and the schools have to come up with different conferences nowadays, I guess. But like I said, I would love the old NEC to come back. I think that was the greatest.
Travel probably doesn't affect the football as much because it's on a Friday night, but for these basketball games, Like tonight, we got a team coming into Conneaut, coming all the way from the east side of Erie. Not that that's all that far.
Yeah.
But it makes a difference on a weeknight.
It really does. I just went to a Jefferson wrestling match, and they played Salem and Southeast Ravenna. I mean, that's like hour and 20 minutes back and forth. That's kind of crazy, but I guess that's just what they have to do nowadays.
Byron Wessel, the Gazette newspaper, is my guest, and we're taping this show, by the way, on Tuesday, December the 11th. Byron, you mentioned the old NEC, so you went to what school?
Jefferson.
So you're a Jefferson Falcon, and
Yeah.
you played what sports?
I played when I was younger. I played youth football, soccer, cross country, and all basketball and stuff like that, tennis. But once I got in junior high, once I got to high school, I just focused on baseball. It was baseball every day.
And are you living in the Jefferson area?
I lived in Jefferson, and then moved to Rock Creek area when I was really young, and then now I own a house in Saybrook. So I've been almost everywhere. Ashtabula, Jefferson, close to Grand Valley schools. And it's kind of funny, I moved in 5th grade, and I don't know how much your audience wants to know this, but my dad came up to me in 5th grade, and he's like, do you want to go to Disneyland, or do you want to move across the street from where I grew up in this 150-year-old house that has no siding or anything and sleep on the floor for 2 months? And I'm like, Dad, I want to go to Disneyland. He's like, I already bought the house, I'm so sorry. So we moved out there, and I was glad to be closer. We still went to Jefferson, but Rock Creek Elementary, and then back to Jefferson, but just to be close to Grand Valley and PV, and now I'm closer to Lakeside, Edgewood, and Conneaut. It's just full circle, really.
So you graduated in Jefferson what year?
2001.
2001, so your son said you must be about 35.
Yeah, 35, almost 36, yeah. We can cut that part out, but
Byron, now that I know you're from Jefferson, some great athletes have come through Jefferson. I know when you talk about basketball recently, of course, the Hitchcocks. What a big name there in Jefferson.
Yeah.
Sam Hitchcock, the most recent.
Yeah.
And he was a player of the county.
Yeah.
And I understand there's another Hitchcock coming up, and he's better than Sam.
That's to be determined, because Sam's incredible, but Grant Hitchcock, he's wonderful. He just won championship, 3-on-3 championship with a kid from Grand Valley and a kid from PV. They formed a team, and he's really good, but he still has a ways to go, I think, to catch up to Sam, because Sam's remarkable, and Lucas was a great quarterback at Jefferson as well. I think he broke some touchdown records, and one of his receivers was James Jackson, who just won the Golden Helmet Award at the Touchdown Club. They had a great connection in high school together, Lucas and James Jackson.
Some other great athletes that are coming to mind out of the Jefferson, and look at girls basketball, the Caffra girls. Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about them? I mean, I've seen them play, and they were tremendous.
Yeah, they were. One was a year older than me, and the other two were a couple years younger than me, but they were incredible. Great. Kelly and Becky Hamper were that girls basketball program back then was just incredible, and they're all great athletes. Haley and Jamie, I think, and their brother Kurt was a year younger than me. He was good at baseball. He went on to play in college, and I think I don't know if he still holds it, but he has a home run record at the college he went to, I think. So that's pretty nice.
And the name's escaping me. The football player most recently, Knight.
Jeremiah Knight.
Jeremiah
yeah,
Knight.
I loved watching him play. I'm glad that he's at Akron now, and I think he might have won Akron's special team player of the year. I'm not quite sure, but he had a great year once he transferred to Akron, and I'm really, really proud of him and all his success.
Byron, who are some other athletes, either back in your time or you've been covering from the Gazette newspapers? I'm going to continue to say Courier here.
It's all right.
From other schools that come to the top of your mind right now in any sports?
Well, there's so many, but just going back, I'd say Jared Bunch. He put on a football camp, and I got to talk to him a lot. Matt Hatch is from Jefferson, but talking to him, he was incredible. Brandon Hinkle, he was one of the first people to fight in UFC. He's from Jefferson. He did a great job fighting. And the high school names, now they all escape me because there's so many great ones that come together. But
today I know today's teams in basketball, Edgewood's got this pure shooter in
Hayden
Kinnicky.
Kinnicky. Yeah, he can shoot the ball really, really well.
I've seen some of his games that just gets the ball in his hands and he's ready to shoot no matter where he's out on the floor.
He can shoot it from deep, and he's a great shooter.
Yeah, a couple 44-point games for him
Yeah,
last
I remember.
season.
I remember those.
And they seem to be the best team in the county again right now, even though it's early. They just seem to be, because they got everybody back except one person.
Yeah, they're a great team, and the girls PV and girls Jefferson basketball, they have some good teams right now. I know one of my favorite teams to cover was a 2012 Grand Valley Mustangs, and they went 30-2 I think that year and 18-0 in the conference, and they went to the Final Four in Columbus and under Russ Bell, and I can still remember almost that whole roster from 2012. There's incredible players. One of my favorite cover was Mitchell Lake, and then there's A.J. Henson, who had a remarkable career in basketball and football, but he was on that baseball team. Adam Moot, Jeremy Rockefeller, Joe Satterfield, Kyle Hodge, Kyle Orgriffon, Nate Wengert, Stanley Sarian, Chandler Veras, Tim Steed, Mason Berkey. That was an incredible 2012 team, and incredible class, special class that had great teams in baseball, basketball, and football. So that 2012 team is one of the most special ones that I remember covering.
Another name that comes to me, Byron, I'm thinking of Pymatuning Valley right now. I'm trying to go around all the schools. Recent wrestler, Gage Willis.
Gage Willis,
Didn't he go
yeah.
undefeated 2 years in a row?
I think maybe he had one loss during that stretch, but maybe undefeated. He was incredible, and he's at Edinburgh now. I think he's wrestling as an individual and like redshirting or something. But he's incredible, yeah. And my dad was a huge wrestling fan and a big wrestler back in his day. And you asked me earlier, like, what really got me into sports, and I think one of the things is when I was super little, my dad would take me to wrestling matches at Jefferson Falcons when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. And he wasn't too far removed. He probably knew some family names and the coaches, and he would walk down to the wrestlers where they're sitting and talk to the coach. And back then they had a bucket of oranges. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. They were cut up, and they still had the peel on them, and the wrestlers would stick them in their mouth and then walk around with them, and I would be able to grab some of those and put them in my mouth, and then my dad always got me licorice, and I think ever since then I've been hooked on sports, and I think that's one of my favorite memories of what really got me into sports. I don't even remember if Jefferson won or lost the dual meet or anything. Just
Sure, we have the
just
memories
having
that
fun.
you remember,
yeah.
right?
And I can still, for a long time, I still smelled oranges and licorice when I walked into a gymnasium. So that really impacted me. And also going to Indians games with my dad and my mom, my sister, when there was like less than 1,000 people at the games, and I just the love of baseball.
Yeah, you could go at 729 back then and sit in the first row, right?
Yeah. I was lucky. My dad had got great company tickets from where he worked at Glass Sticks, so I would sit next to the third base line, front row, and get autographs. I probably had like 10 of Omar Vizquel, Kenny Lofton, Manny Ramirez, Sandy Alomar, Kenny Lofton, Jim Tomey. I got all those autographs.
Wow.
And
You are an Indians fan.
Yeah, I love them, and yeah.
Grand Valley, when I look at Grand Valley, the great football runner there, Hernandez.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He had great back-to-back years. I think he hurt his ankle in the playoff game his last year, and that was really rough for the team. Michael McGovern tried to bring him back at the end in the second half, but they just didn't quite have it. But yeah, he's a great runner.
He was a great runner. Back to Jefferson for a minute, Byron. Of course, their football and basketball programs are suffering right now the last couple of years, but prior to that, both those sports were very good. Talking about boys basketball in particular with Steve French, when he was there, they made it into the regionals, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Of course, he is gone now. I think he went to Liberty, is it? Or Springfield?
Springfield.
Yeah. So when you look at the Jefferson boys basketball program, are they going to continue to struggle for a little bit more, or do you see them turning it around quickly?
That's a good question. They have I don't want to get in trouble. They have an intense coach right now, and if anybody could do it, I think he can turn them around, because he's really trying. I know that, and he's intense. And if they stick with it and they develop the younger players, I know they've got a lot of freshmen that he's throwing in there right now, and so they're going to get playing time and hopefully develop in it. But it starts It starts with youth basketball, and in all sports programs, it starts with the youth coaches. You can only do so much once you get to the high school level, so it's really about developing the programs for any school, any community at a young age.
You mentioned that you deal with athletic directors at times from all the schools. Are they pretty much a good service to you?
Yeah.
All the athletic directors?
Yeah, they're great, and yeah, they're all wonderful. I know Jason Baxter's new at Lakeside. He already knows my face, knows my name, and we talk to each other when we see each other. Steve Cray's incredible at Edgewood. He's one of the best. Mr. Losi, I've known him since I was in school. So at Jefferson, he's great. All of them are great. I knew Terry Heidick at Grand Valley is great, and
Melanie down in
she's
Andover.
outstanding. She's great too. Yeah, she's always one of the quickest to get back to me when I email her for something.
And Nick over at
Oh
St.
yeah,
John's School.
yeah.
Talk
for
about
sure.
fiery and feisty.
Yeah, for sure. He's
Good man.
great too. Yes.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Byron Wessel, my guest here on Gazette, from the Gazette newspapers. We're talking sports, mainly high school sports. We're going to talk a little bit of Indians here in just a minute. Byron, when you wrestling, talk about wrestling for a minute, because that doesn't get much notoriety. I don't go to the wrestling matches because I really don't understand them that well, but Gage Willis has been a good wrestler. We just talked about him. St. John has a couple of good wrestlers too, am I right?
Yeah. Well, Jacob Lagoa went to Lakeside this year. He's incredible, and he's probably going to have success at Lakeside as well.
Oh, he transferred over there?
Yeah, to be with his brother, because his
Okay.
brother goes there. But Nick Bedard and David Cumberledge at St. John, they're both great
Had
wrestlers.
a great year. Had an injury though in the football season. Cost him about 4 games.
Yeah.
He had a great year. Okay, let's talk a little bit of pro sports. We'll finish the show with that. Are you a Browns fan?
Yes, huge Browns fan.
Are you excited about Baker Mayfield?
Well, I woke up feeling dangerous today, so I'm really happy, Baker. I think we finally hit it. I was a little hesitant at first during the draft, but
I was too.
I'm fully on board with the Baker show, and I just love the Browns ever since I was a kid playing Tecmo Bowl. Bernie Kosar, Slaughter, Langhorne, all them, Hanford and Dixon. I was too young to really. Didn't really watch the fumble and the drive, but I know about it and a huge history.
Her and
there.
I watched it.
Yeah,
We still
I
remember
was
it.
like 4 years old or something, but yeah, I knew growing up to hate Denver, so.
And we got them coming up again this
Yeah.
week. Maybe there'll be a little revenge for a
Yeah,
change.
Yeah.
On the Browns again, Baker Mayfield, I can live, see if you can, I can live with his mistakes because he has the ability to move the team down the field, something we haven't seen in years.
Yeah, I don't. He's a rookie, so he's gonna have mistakes. I don't think he's the one game where he threw like 4 interceptions. I think that was just an anomaly. I don't think he'll do that.
Yeah.
But I think he's very accurate, and if you give him protection, he just needs protection and some more playmakers on offense when it hurt. But I can live with all his rookie mistakes. He knows the game. He's one of the smartest people on the field. So
And he speaks what's on his mind.
yeah, he definitely does that.
Were
It's
you
another
okay
great
with
quality.
the attendance comment?
I didn't
You
even
hear
hear that one.
He
No.
said that we need more fan support at the stadium. They only had 59,000 instead of 67,000.
Well, that's funny, but I mean, great for him to point that out because that's one of the things I hate about the Indians is that our attendance is really low for the Indians. But
For winning so many Central
Yeah.
Division titles
Yeah.
and getting into the World Series.
yeah,
I mean, it's better than it used to be, but it could be a lot better.
it could definitely be a lot better.
Let's go to the Indians. Look like they're going to make some moves. Of course, the winter meetings are going on right now. I'm still waiting to see if Kluber or Bauer is going to get traded. Are you okay with that?
I mean, I wish we'd just go out and get Bryce Harper and Manny Machado and stick with the team we have, but I know that won't happen. I would hate to lose Kluber, but if we trade him for an outfielder prospect and some pitching, and we need to use that money to go out and get an outfielder if we do trade Kluber because he's great, and I'd like to hold on to everybody and add pieces instead of subtract, but I could see them moving Kluber and understanding why.
Would you rather them move Kluber or Bauer?
I think Kluber because I think we could get more from him, and I'm kind of worried about his back and his injury, and I think, but they're all Carrasco, Bauer, Kluber all have great contracts, so I just hate to trade three of the best pitchers in the league with three of the best contracts and not really get anything back, or at least not spend the money that we would save.
You said something interesting that I agree with about kind of wish they'd kind of keep the pieces they got, go out and get that one big outfielder. That one big outfielder might be on their team if they want to move Jose Ramirez back out there, which he did in the 2016 season, and then you could put Yandy Diaz at third.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, because I'd like to just keep Jose at second base permanently.
You would.
And give Yandy a chance at third.
And then what about Jason? What would you do with him?
Well, I know we're filming, but off the record, I am not a Jason Kipnis
You're
fan.
not? Never was? Or
Never
lately?
was.
Oh,
He
tell me
had
why.
one great
My
May.
son's not either.
He had one great month of May. It was incredible that month, and I hate to talk bad about anyone. Everybody that knows me knows I don't like Jason Kipnis.
You're not talking bad about him. They're just players we like, and there's players we don't like.
He's the second highest paid player on the team last year, and I just don't think he did a great job. We got a lot better when we finally moved him down the order, and I don't like his defense, and I don't like that we traded Eric Gonzalez and Giovanni Urshela and not giving those guys and Yandy time to develop because he was always blocking the way, and he's too slow and no arm for the outfield.
So what you're saying, Byron, that if they traded Jason Kipnis, you're not going to get a handkerchief out.
No, they should have traded him last year to the Mets when they had the chance. But I mean, I do like him. I like the fact that he loves Cleveland, so I like him in that aspect. I like when he lost to Shingard, and so he asked fans to get him one because it wasn't made anymore, and somebody got him one, and he's like, "Do you want stuff from me, or do you want stuff signed from Frankie Lindor?" And they were like, "Frankie Lindor." So I know he has a good sense of humor. He's a good player and a good teammate, and I just think we could do more at the position.
Were you surprised that they were swept by Houston?
I was and I wasn't. I know Houston's a great team, and I knew Indians never clicked at all during the season, so I could see it coming, and Houston's just a dominant team. I wasn't really surprised. I thought we could have done better.
They never did click. You're right.
They
I think
never-
they had
they
maybe
never
one
clicked.
7-game winning streak
Yeah.
there somewhere along the line, but then they probably would lose 3 or 4 after that. Yeah, they never did click.
Yeah, they never got their mojo going.
It seemed like something was missing, and I don't know what it was. I think a lot of it was the bullpen.
Yeah.
The bullpen was just horrendous.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to fix that because we're probably gonna lose Miller and Allen. We need to
You think
re-sign
you'll lose
Perez.
both?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely lose both, and we need to stick with Oliver Perez. I think he'll be a great piece. But we have Hand.
He'll be your
now.
closer.
Hand, yeah, and
The side armor, Simber.
yeah, Simber. I was a little disappointed in him how he worked out so far, but I think he can improve.
What about Danny Salazar if he ever comes back?
Yeah.
Bullpen?
Yeah, I'm
Late
thinking,
inning?
I'm thinking bullpen. I know he's on schedule to maybe be ready for spring training, but not quite yet. But I mean, we have, even if we lose Kluber, we have Bauer and Carrasco and Bieber and Clevenger, and I think we have Merritt still. I'm not sure. Maybe we lost Merritt somehow to waiver or
Clevenger.
something. But Clevenger and Bieber and Carrasco and Bauer. So and Tristan McKenzie's the next big thing. So if we get him in fifth man, that'd be great. So I don't know if there's even room for Danny, and I don't know if his
That's
arms.
a good problem.
Yeah, it
That's
is
a good problem to have. You mentioned Mike Clevenger. I never was a big Clevenger fan, but boy, was I wrong. He really had a great season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I've always liked him. Hair and everything. I think.
I always thought he
he's
walked
great.
too many batters,
He did
and that
at
would get
first.
him in trouble, but not this year.
Yeah, he did have. We fixed his mechanics a lot. We cut down on his walks. Well, the Indians did, and they cut down on his walks a lot. And he's just. He did, his pitch count was always high, but he always seemed to get out of it. So now that he works that out, I think does just bright future for him.
Did you miss Carlos Santana, or with Yonder Alonso, did it seem like we didn't have any gain or any loss?
Santana was another great player, another great teammate, city guy, kind of guy, Cleveland guy, and he got on base a lot. I never really liked his average, and Yadier did a pretty good job filling that hole. So I didn't really miss him too much, but he was a big part of the team for a long time. So
Did you dislike the Jan Gomes trade?
like now again, we're trying to save money. I don't really understand it, but I guess it makes sense. I just want them to spend that money that they're saving on somebody else.
Let's go to the Cavaliers. We'll close with the Cavaliers. They look like a team that can put some points on the board, but man, can they give up some points too?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about the Cavs right now. With Love hurt, and Tristan Thompson might be out 2 to 4 weeks now.
Oh, didn't hear that.
Yeah, so I just want to see
What happened?
Colin.
Last night?
I think something last night.
No.
I think his foot, so he's out 2 to 4
He
weeks.
was really doing good.
Yeah. I wish he would just play basketball, not run his mouth. But
Wow.
But yeah, I just want to see Colin Sexton, develop and get another draft pick and see where we can go.
The Tyronn Lue firing, did that surprise you early in the year?
No, I wanted him
You
gone.
wanted him gone.
3 years. When did he start? I wanted him gone when he started.
Reason?
but I don't think he's a head coach.
Okay. LeBron was coaching?
Yeah, that's inside joke with me and my friends. Like LeBron James is the coach of that team.
LeBron James leaving Cleveland for a second time. How did you feel about it?
Not as mad as I was the first time. I understand that his sons are getting older, and he wants the best for them, and he wants to maybe start a Hollywood career or something. And he won us a championship, so I can't be too mad at him. I was devastated the first time he left, because he was one of my favorite players, and Kyrie was my favorite player, and then they all left, and they really haven't had anybody I love that much since Mark Price and Brad Daugherty. So
Everybody loved Mark Price.
yeah.
LeBron James, I'm interested to hear what you're going to say about this. He was in Cleveland recently when the Lakers were in town. I think it was the day before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd there gave him a pretty nice round applause.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked me if I was to go to that game, what I would have done. And I think, Byron, I would have not cheered. I would have not booed either. I think I would have just sat there. What about you?
I would have cheered as loudly as possible, just out of respect for him. I can understand anybody doing anything they want, but I think it would be a shame if anybody would boo. Indifference is okay, but I would just cheer as loud as possible for him and wish him the best. Favorite
Cleveland sports announcer?
I don't. There's so many. I don't know. I think I like I'm just gonna say Bernie Kosar. I know he's not really like a technical one, like color analyst. I think he knows the game so well. He does. Smart. He's a very smart man, and I know he did a lot of preseason. But I'd listen to Bernie Kosar talk sports, football all day long.
Interesting to hear
Tom
you
Hamlin.
say that.
There's so many that I would say, but I just think Bernie Kosar should have a full-time job announcing grounds games.
I think one thing Cleveland has is in baseball, football, and basketball, they're play-by-play men. Tom Hamilton, Jimmy Donovan, and Fred McLeod on the television are all high-strung and exciting.
Yeah.
You don't know. They're high-strung and exciting when the team's not winning.
Yeah, they do a great job, all of them. I love listening on the radio and on TV, so I know we have some good ones.
Byron Wessel, my guest from the sports, what is it? The Gazette newspapers. I want to keep saying the Courier. Yeah, go ahead, add one thing.
Well, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity the Gazette newspapers has given me covering sports in Asheville and Lake County for nearly 9 years. The Gazette has been a local, privately owned company since 1876. That's nearly 150 years. And through 5 generations of the Lamson family. And I'd just like to thank John Lamson and his family, President Bill Creed at the Gazette, the rest of the editorial staff led by my sister Stephanie Wessel, the advertisement department, the pagination team, production crew, and the front office staff. We're really one big family, one big team, a lot like a sports team. And without one of those individuals, we wouldn't be able to do what we do for Asheville and Lake County. The Gazette has 5 papers, 4 weeklies, the Courier in Conneaut, North Kingsville, the News in Andover, Orwell area, the Gazette, which is mostly Jefferson, Geneva, and Asheville, and the Lake County Tribune, and then the monthly paper, the Shores News in Rome Shores. And we reach 12,500 households and have nearly 30,000 readers, and I just glad to be a part of that.
Well, you guys really do a great job over there. I know we subscribe to it. We get it every Thursday in our mailbox. Don't forget about Martha, too.
Yeah,
Martha,
Martha's
sorry.
great, the editorial staff. Yeah, and just to talk a little bit more, if I could, just what I love most about it is seeing a little kid play their first t-ball game or soccer game or organized sports, and just the pure joy and excitement in their eyes, and then seeing a senior play in their final game and the passion and emotion that bleeds through that they leave everything on the floor on the court, and just to be a part of that is remarkable and memorable, and it just for me to be a part of that in some form and document it and write about it and maybe give them scrapbook material, it just makes my job easier, and I'm just glad to be a part of that, and because it's all about the kids and their achievements, and them being able to see their name or picture in the paper just makes my job really rewarding at the Gazette doing sports.
Great job. Thanks for sharing. Byron Wessel, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck.